When Moses was fleeing, God spoke to him. Today's focus: the burning bush not consumed. Find foods, 7 minutes a day, 1 Bible a year. Grace and peace, everyone. Today we come to a new book, Exodus chapters 1 through 4. Our key verse is, "There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up." Let's consider the life of Moses, which can be divided into 3 stages. The first 40 years were in Egypt. The second 40 years were in the wilderness. Then the last 40 years were spent leading Israel toward Canaan. Egypt represents the world. He did not long for the things of the world, not even the status of an Egyptian prince or all its splendor and wealth. He would rather use his own way to save the Hebrews. But circumstances were stronger than him, and God allowed it to happen, because God wanted him to rely on the Lord to deliver the Israelites. So he entered the wilderness. He went through 40 years of testing. Finally, God fully equipped him, enabling him to return to Egypt to deliver the Israelites. Today, we talk about the burning bush, which is fire. Moses, whose name means drawn out, was himself drawn from the water and saved. So it points to passing through water and fire. In the burning bush, God meets with Moses. What does this reveal on a spiritual level? The book of Exodus is about out of death into life, out of Egypt into the wilderness. Out of death means leaving death, into life means receiving life, and out of Egypt into the wilderness. At this stage, it is not a direct entry into Canaan, but first passing through the wilderness, and the time in the wilderness depends on a person's faith. In fact, they reached Canaan in the first year, but because they lacked faith, they wandered for 40 years. Let us look at the structure of Exodus. The first section is slavery. It is chapters 1 through 6. The location is Egypt. Led by Jacob, the Israelites went down into Egypt as a single large family. By the time of the Exodus, it had been 430 years. Often it is shortened to 400 years. The key points are slavery in Egypt and the call of Moses. The second section is deliverance from chapters 7 through 18. The core is God empowering Moses, which led to the 10 plagues on Egypt. After observing the Passover, they left Egypt, crossed the Red Sea, and met God at Mount Sinai, a journey that took about 2 months. The third stage is manifestation, God revealing himself directly. After delivering them, he revealed himself, gave them the 10 commandments, and commanded them to build the tabernacle. But then, right in the middle of all this, the golden calf incident happened. Why? Because Moses stayed on the mountain with God for such a long time that the people waiting below lost faith. So they wanted to make a golden calf and to return to Egypt. The final key is the glory of the tabernacle. When the tabernacle was finished, it shone with glory. We can see the wilderness and Mount Sinai together are about 1 year, but in reality, they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. We will cover this as we go along. Today's discussion is on the first section, slavery. Slavery in Egypt and the calling of Moses. To set the stage, they had entered Egypt 400 years earlier. The first part is Moses' survival in Egypt. Pharaoh saw that the Hebrews were multiplying. He needed them as slaves, but he also wanted to reduce their numbers. So he ordered the midwives to kill the baby boys. But the midwives feared God and did not obey. So he commanded that all baby boys be thrown into the water. But God saved Moses from the water. Pharaoh's daughter adopted him. Through the wise reply of his sister Miriam, Moses was able to be nursed by his own mother. I imagine that when his mother nursed him, She surely did everything she could to let him know that he is a Hebrew and not to forget his identity. Moses survived in Egypt. His name means drawn out of the water. The second part is that he was a prince of Egypt, but he wanted to deliver the Hebrews. Upon seeing an Egyptian overseer beating a Hebrew, Moses struck the man down. While such an act might have meant little to an Egyptian prince, it was a direct challenge to Pharaoh's authority. In fact, the Hebrews themselves were not ready to accept his intervention. Fearing exposure, Moses then fled into the wilderness. The third part is, while in the wilderness, God spoke to Moses from a burning bush. Moses heard God's voice, and God revealed himself as, I am who I am. The fourth part is the striking of the 10 plagues and the Exodus. We will cover these later. Moses encountered God in the wilderness. Let us look at the scripture. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. Let us look at the context. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. Do not come any closer, God said. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Here we see the flames in the bush. God can speak in many ways. For example, through thunder and lightning, or through other signs and wonders. But God appeared through the flames in the bush. This burning bush made Moses want to come closer and look. When Moses came closer to look, he heard God say, do not come any closer. This place is holy ground. The sandals on your feet must be removed. The shoes on our feet are soiled with the filth of the world. When we come before God, we must lay it down and be cleansed. Later in the tabernacle, we also see that before entering the holy place, there was the basin for washing. This means preparing oneself and being cleansed. How can the wilderness be holy ground? There is only one reason, the presence of God. Why was the bush burning with fire? Consider the bush itself. It is useless. You cannot build with it. It bears no fruit, and it is not even pleasant in appearance. When Moses wandered in the wilderness, he went from being a prince of Egypt to becoming like a bush. Maybe he felt his life would stay like this and be useless. But God told him through the burning bush that within it dwelt the angel of the Lord, and from it came God's own voice and power. It will not be consumed. In this wilderness, God shattered everything in him, his palace wisdom, his very ego, and God reshaped him. Therefore, we understand that the bush was not consumed because God appeared within it. And the Israelites whom Moses would deliver were also like a bush. In Pharaoh's eyes, they were meant only for relentless enslavement and exploitation, to be used up and discarded as worthless. After 400 years, with a new dynasty on the throne, a Pharaoh who had no memory of Joseph, everything changed. Ruling a land shaped by both native and foreign powers, this new king saw no reason to honor Joseph's legacy or show kindness to the Hebrews. Instead, he enslaved them. So, in Pharaoh's eyes, they were like a worthless bush, fit only to be burned. Yet, in that very bush, God appeared. In the same way, the slaves are not abandoned. God gives them new life, the very life of his own children. Reading Guide to Exodus. Exodus is about out of death into life, out of Egypt into the wilderness set in the Mosaic Age. Chapter 1. Israelites oppressed in Egypt. Chapter 2. Moses, birth, palace, and flight. Chapter 3. God calls Moses in the wilderness. The burning bush not consumed. Chapter 4. God gives Moses authority to perform signs and wonders. It is the staff in his hand. Today's focus. The burning bush not consumed. God speaks to Moses who was drawn out of the water. Bush not consumed. God appears. Slaves not abandoned, life given. Blessed is the one whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night. Fine food 7 minutes. See you tomorrow.